Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this early. My name is Marjolaine Lamontagne. I'm a CSPC Program Committee volunteer, and we're about to participate in an interactive panel titled Breakfast Session with Concordia University, hosted by Dominique Bérubé. Please don't forget to tweet about your favorite events and panels at the conference using @SciencePolicy and hashtag CSPC 2023. And please, finally, don't forget to fill out the evaluation survey for this session in the program app. Your feedback is important to us to help us make CSPC even better next year. I hope you enjoy this panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's a panel of one this morning. Thank you so much for joining. Merci beaucoup d'être présent plutôt tôt le matin, very early this morning. So as I was saying, that must be the worst time slot of the conference. But hey, breakfast is offered. So thank you so much for being here. My name is Dominique Bérubé. I'm the Vice President, Research and Graduate Studies at Concordia University in Montreal. And I'm going to be speaking this morning about our CFREF initiatives, Canada First Research Excellence Fund program that we got and that we recently named Volt Age, which is we're launching. Alors, ça me fait vraiment plaisir d'être ici, puis je veux remercier aussi les organisateurs de la conférence de nous donner cette opportunité de parler un peu de cet important projet. Oops, no, this one. Okay, so I think of course, it's just to start, what it is that we're talking about this morning. This is Voltage. This is a very ambitious research program that is talking about electrifying society. So, of course, it's about supporting the energy transition in Canada. It's about how Canada is going to, try to meet its 2030 emission reductions target. And how can we help to the federal government to meet these targets? But I also this morning want to tweak a bit the presentation that we usually do on the projects to link it to science policy and better understand how the funding of these programs have a deep influence on the future of research funding in Canada in general. So because it's early in the morning and that everybody's still at their first coffee, what is a CFREF? It's, as I said, Canada First Research Excellence Fund. Recently funded 11 projects across Canada in this second competition. Last competition before that was, as many of you know, 2015-16, which means, it's a cycle of every 7 years that this competition happens. And as I said, just only 11 projects were funded. $1.4 billion of the federal government are invested in each of these competitions, with approximately $200 million per year. What's that? Valerie's in the room, maybe 6% of the agency's budget, that are dedicated to this program. So an important investment that the federal government is doing. Those 11 projects are the second cohort, as I said, and the program, the federal government has that requirement to evaluate the program every 5 years. So if you're curious, you can go online on the agency's website and find the evaluation after the first 5 years. That was done maybe 2020, maybe 2021. When was that? Middle of the pandemic, maybe. First projects were funded in 2015-16. The struggle is real. How do you demonstrate impact of these large-scale investments in the universities when you're in the middle of the pandemic, and that these projects are sort of trying to make sense of what are these large-scale grants that the universities are supposed to be implementing? So the evaluation of the program, my takeaway from the evaluation of the program at the time was that flexibility given to the institution was extremely appreciated. You receive a $100 million grant, and then you set up the program, you set up the priorities, you set up the governance, you more or less set up a small funding agency and try to create, and make change happen in a specific thematic over these 7 years. So that's not an easy endeavor. That was quite a challenge for many universities. So flexibility was very highly appreciated. Nevertheless, super slow start of all the projects. It's because each university was just, okay, now that I have that grant, how do I set it up? How do I manage the funds? How do I get people to work together? So that was pretty normal, but that was an impact of the pandemic. I think that 2021 was extremely hard in the management of these projects. Something that was a bit of a concern in the evaluations, partnerships were coming too late in the projects. In many projects, there was sort of a conventional linear approach to partnerships, which meant, well, let's do the research and they will come. Let's do the research and then push the knowledge mobilization and the innovation to the partners. So that definitely was identified as something to improve in the program. And that was all melted together, and the Secretariat produced the new guidelines for the competition that happened in 2022. So maybe a disclaimer: I was on the other side of the barrier when all of this was discussed, because I was SSHRC VP programs at the time, and I was managing the CFREF program. So, hence my knowledge of the evaluation process that happened. Maybe also a disclaimer: I left SSHRC on August 31st, which was the deadline to submit the new project, and I started at Concordia on September 1st, which meant that I was not involved in the preparation of this grant that Concordia got, because obviously conflict of interest, important to dissociate the two things. Nevertheless, I'm in charge of the implementation, so so for me that's a very interesting position, because I could see, I sort of observed the implementation of the first cohort of projects, and now I'm in charge of making a success of this project. So a question for today, is that what does an institution needs to promise to get one of these grants? And what will they deliver on these promises that they make? Because if they give only 11 grants, you can understand that, and this is a highly coveted grant, obviously, across Canada. So you need to aim high to be able to get there. For me, it's what I get from that is the accountability and the obligation of success. We have a lot of discussion in this group and across the research ecosystem in Canada about how to convince the federal government to reinvest in research. Well, if we're not successful in these projects, in which they invest quite a significant amount of money, at least comparatively to what the